Hello, and a big welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the podcast, and a happy new year as well. This is our first podcast episode of 2025, and I'm really excited to be here with you. Today, we're going to be looking at some really fun things. We've got a brand new challenge called Kickstart, which we run. We have run it quite a few years before, but this is a brand new version. It's new and improved, and it is a 5-day challenge to help you kind of just get back into things after the Christmas break, but also to plan our whole year together. So I'm going to be sharing a bit more about that and how you can get involved and all those things throughout this episode as well. I also just wanted to say a massive thank you for being here and being part of the community. It is so wonderful to see all the progress that everyone's making in your jewelry making, in your businesses, and it's really a privilege to be part of that journey. We did a post the other day actually on social media, kind of reviewing some of the things that have happened in this year. So I do want to do some shout outs, which I'll be doing in a little bit as to, some of the incredible things that you guys have done. And it wouldn't be possible without you. So Jewellers Academy is a business, but more than that, it's a community and you are part of it. So, just thank you so much for that. It is awesome. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for everything that you share of ours. We wouldn't be here without you. And thank you for all the incredible reviews as well. And if you are new, then you're very lucky because you found an incredible space. And of course, I started the business, but it's very much not about me anymore. There's so many people involved. There's an incredible team of people that put everything together. And there's an incredible community of jewelers, which is you guys, that make it all happen. And I love seeing how you support each other through the Facebook groups, through Instagram, through the courses, through the Zoom calls. It really is very heartwarming, and I'm excited to see the growth that's going to be happening for all of us in 2025 and beyond. So before we get into talking about the Kickstart Challenge and some other cool stuff that's coming up this year, I just wanted to do a little shout out on some of the reflections we had of what you guys have done this year as part of the community. So more than 50,000 of you tuned in to watch the Handmade Jewelers TV series, which we made last year, which is incredible. It's on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out already, definitely go and have a look. It's great fun. There's 5 episodes where we follow, it's like a documentary series, really, follow the lives of a day in the life of 5 totally different, all incredibly talented jewelers at different stages of their journeys. That was a real highlight from last year. Nearly 1 million of you tuned in to watch our YouTube videos. So thank you so much for that. It's incredible. And when I hear things like that, I just think how many amazing pieces must have been made from watching all of those. Like, that's really cool. More than 8 million views on Instagram from you guys in the community. We absolutely love hanging out with you on Instagram, sharing your content. We love sharing your content, your reels, your process, your making, sharing you on the podcast, sharing you what you're up to, your updates, but also sharing lots of jewelry making tips and advice. So thank you for being part of that. We've got nearly 65,000 of you are actively doing courses on the community. So amazing. Well done if that's you. If it's not, then perhaps this is your year to get involved in one of the courses. We have everything from free courses through to diploma programs, which are much more intense and involved. So thank you for being part of that. More than 400 of you gained your jewelry diploma last year. So well done. If that is you, you know who you are. And I know we've got a similar number this year who are joining us too. So absolutely incredible on all the progress you guys are making. Then just some fun stats. We have an estimated 144,000 grams of silver was used last year by our diploma students on their diploma projects alone. That is a lot of silver. That's a heavy weight. And around 2,800 grams of gold by the same students. So, we're working through those materials here. We love it. Lots of incredible tutors filmed some new courses with us this year. So a big shout out to all the tutors as well. We also launched the brand new Jewellers Academy Support Fund last year, which if you haven't got involved in, definitely get involved next time. Every 2 months, we give away £1,000 at random to someone on our social media following, just to help them with their jewelry, with their business. We know it can be expensive starting a jewelry business. And so that's something that we want to do. Of course, it's a very exciting year ahead for us as well, because we're opening our first physical in-person training centre in Brighton in the UK. And I cannot wait for some of you to come visit wherever you are in the world, book your plane tickets, come and hang out with me, come and make some jewellery. That is something I'm excited for this year. There's loads of other things, but I think probably the most important thing is the thousands of pieces of handmade jewellery that you guys have been making. And when I think of that as the whole community together, it makes me very happy. So well done, you. Whatever happened last year, whether it was a good year or a bad year or somewhere in between, you are part of our crew and we absolutely support you and are glad that you are here. But now we are in 2025. We're looking forward. We're excited about the year ahead. And something that I love to do at the beginning of the year is this sort of looking at what's the year going to hold, just in a nutshell, nothing too detailed, nothing too stressful, nothing too overwhelming. As we ease into the new year, how can we set some really good intentions? How can we set a good vision for the year ahead? And what kind of practical steps can we take if we really want to grow this year? So that's what we're going to be focusing in the Kickstart challenge. So like I mentioned, it is a 5-day challenge. You need roughly 30 minutes a day to complete the challenge. You'll be watching a video of me for about 10 to 15 minutes and doing a single exercise on your business for about 10 to 15 minutes. And by the end of the week, the 5 days, you'll have a complete plan for your jewelry business going forwards that is actionable, that you can put into place, that is aligned with the values and visions that you have behind your business. So it's short and sweet, but it's really effective and going to be such a good way to propel you into the new year. So I want as many of you to get involved as possible. And it's not too much of a commitment. And if you're taking the kids back to school, this is a brilliant way to just kind of plug in, tune into something positive, uplifting, and supportive for your business to get you in the right headspace for the new year. So I'm going to run through what's covered in the Kickstart challenge. There is a link in the show notes to go sign up. Make sure you sign up so that we can send you the reminders and things. In terms of how it works, there's a short video from me each day that will be guiding you through the exercises that I want you to do throughout the week to complete this kind of vision setting, goal, growth plan, extravaganza. And there'll also be some downloadable notes to go alongside that. And you'll get an email reminder each day just to remind you to go ahead and take a look at the content that day, complete the exercise, and so on and so forth. I will be inside the Jewellers Academy Facebook group each day as well throughout this challenge, just checking in and seeing how you're doing. So do come and share your progress. Like I said before, we are a community. So that is our real strength. That is our real power, is that everyone who comes to us, first of all, loves jewelry making, probably wants to run a jewelry business, or, is aligned with that kind of way of thinking. Is positive and likes to be inspired and encouraged and wants to help others. These are the kind of people we attract in our community. So go to those spaces and reach out to those other people because they are like you and they want to help you. And of course, you want to help others because they're just the kind of people that we are. So do come and join us in the Facebook group and just share how you're getting on with the exercises. It will help keep you accountable and motivated as well as we go through the challenge. And I really encourage you to do the full 5 days because they work all well together and they all kind of incremental learning. So we're going to be building one day on top of the other. If for whatever reason you can't fit it in the time, we are going to be keeping it open for another week or two, but it will be closed by the end of January. And that is to encourage you guys to go and do it because we want to do it. And sometimes if something's left open indefinitely, then we sort of think, I'll get to that later, and it never really happens. So we are here with the accountability to get you guys on top of these goals. So it starts Monday the 6th of Jan and finishes Friday that week. So we don't have a lot of time. It's starting today, but it's only half an hour. You can find half an hour today to squeeze in day one and then kind of move on with the others. So today, day one is all about setting your vision. So this is really about the why behind your business. Why do you want to create a business? Why do you want to grow your business? And what is important for you in that? Because it can be so easy to create a business that is profitable, but that you don't enjoy and that isn't aligned with your values. Perhaps where you're making things that you don't really want to be making or working with customers who you don't really want to be working with. And whilst that can sometimes be just part of the journey, that's not what we're aiming for. And, I've definitely been in that space where at the beginning of my journey, all I wanted was to have a jewelry business and make money, and nothing else mattered. And sometimes that's a good starting point. But then I started to realize, wait a minute, I'm not enjoying the pieces I'm making. I did still like the customers, but the pieces were getting very repetitive. I was doing the same thing every day. And I was like, this isn't what brings me joy. So I set aside creating a vision for the kind of business I wanted, and kind of took the bold steps that you guys are going to be taking to actually work towards that. So day one is about choosing what that vision is. Now, for some of you, you'll have a very clear vision already. You know what you want. For others, it can be a little hazy. We're not really sure what we want to do. We just love making things. So this is a really good time to start asking yourself those little questions. And we all have a vision, whether we're aware of it or not. So it's really about just extracting it and solidifying it and writing it down to say, okay, this is where I'm at today. It might not be perfect. It might not be the best vision statement that the world has ever seen, but it makes sense to me and it's relevant to me and where I'm at in my business right now. So when you're writing a vision, keep it simple. I'll explain more in the videos and the exercises that we go through today. But essentially, a really good way to start is to do a brainstorm of words that are relevant to you and your business. So for my business example that I'm including in the course, I've said things like the materials that I love. I love gemstones. I love working with gold. I love fine jewelry. So I've put those words down. I love jewelry that's handmade. So that's another key word of mine. I love connecting with customers, another keyword. So I've just gone ahead and written down like this list of keywords and started structuring it into sentences as a way to create a vision. Now, I don't want to do the whole training here because I want you guys to go and check it out and kind of get the full information so that you can go ahead and, put it into action. But essentially, that is what we're going to be doing on day one, is creating that vision statement for our business. And I think a year is a really manageable amount of time to think about, what do I want to create this year? And how is it going to be unique to me? It doesn't need to be hugely unique. Every jewelry business will be unique because there's a different person running it, and you bring the personality to your business. So it's kind of looking at you and your vision and how they relate to each other. That's going to be the exercise for day one. Day two, we're going to move on to looking at goals. So having set a vision and an idea of what we want, and kind of, you might even want to underline or highlight some of the keywords in there and say, okay, this is what's really important to me. We're then going to move on and look at 4 big juicy goals for the year. And we usually work in a quarter at a time. So a quarter of the year is a manageable amount of time to be able to achieve what we call the big juicy goals. So we're only doing 4 goals for the year. We're not setting tons and tons of things to do, because that is often a recipe for a lack of focus and overwhelm. So I'm going to talk you through how we can set those goals, what we want them to look like, and how they relate to the vision. After that, we go into day 3 on Wednesday, which is going to be about action planning. So once we've got these goals, the next stage is to break them down into manageable chunks, which is what we call the action plan. So I give you some tools and resources to work through that there. Day 4 is about your weekly routine. So again, once we've got this action plan, we need to think, okay, but what are we doing day to day, week to week, and how are we going to fit it in? Especially for those of you that have busy lifestyles. Perhaps you're working a full-time job or a part-time job. Perhaps you're looking after children or caring for animals, other people, have various responsibilities, or perhaps you have lots of time, in which case it's useful to structure it to make sure we get the most out of the time you're putting into the business too. So that's looking at organization, structures, weekly routines, all again stemming from that original vision and the goals that we've set ourselves. Day 5, another super important, last but not least, is about bringing money into your business. So it's all well and good having all these goals and visions and ideas, but unless we can bring some revenue into the business, it really can be a struggle. So that's going to be an area where we really focus on what you can do this year to make a conscious effort and a strategic effort to bring funds into your business. So I am excited for you to see all the videos. I'm excited for you to do the tasks. I think it's going to bring some real light bulb moments to you and your business. I think it's going to give you some structure and some clarity at the beginning of the year. And this is going to set us up for success for the whole year to come. So, of course, we'll revisit things, we'll go back and do more training. And I really encourage those of you that enjoy this program and get a lot out of it to consider joining our bigger business program, the Jewellery Business Academy. It is a year-long program where we do this stuff all the time. We work through business strategies, techniques, tools. There is so much that I have to share with you guys. I mean, I wish I could share it all in one go, but it takes time and energy. And, I've been studying business techniques since I was at school, doing business studies back in the day. I've done like a mini MBA. I've done all sorts of kind of growth programs, and I've been really blessed and very lucky with everything that I've learned. And I absolutely love passing that on to people because I know it makes a huge difference to the success of their businesses. So that's what I'm here to help you with this year, amongst other things, but definitely it's one of the priorities. So like I said, about 10 to 15 minutes a day, watching the videos, processing the information, and then about 10 to 15 minutes doing your exercise. So within half an hour, you should be done. You might get excited and want more time, and that's fine as well. But if you don't have a lot of time, then this is definitely something that you can fit in. And our goal is at the end of the week, you feel energized, excited, refreshed, and have a very clear direction in what you need to do next to build your business. And if you do join us in the Jewellery Business Academy, we're going to be adding on top of this. So we are doing this exercise very similar inside the Jewellery Business Academy, but it's only part of what we're doing in January. We're building on and we're adding more things. Someone actually asked me the other day how much time, if they join the Business Academy, should they put aside each week? And I'd say a couple of hours a week is a good idea, somewhere between 2 and 4, depending on how much you want to do in your business and how much time you have. If you only have an hour, it's still going to make a huge difference. Every little counts when it comes to building a jewelry business. And we just keep adding little things, little techniques, little ideas, little strategies to move things forward. So those of you with more time can spend more time on it. Those of you with less, you can still make a huge difference in the little time that you have. And I'm here to help you every step of the way. So I'm very excited about that. There are a couple of other things coming up that I just wanted to highlight while we are together at the start of the year. I hope you enjoyed the recent episode on your word of the year. If you haven't checked that out already, take a look. It's a really lovely episode with me and Anna Campbell, where we talk through this concept of throwing away the New Year's resolutions. They tend not to work very well anyway. They can be very disheartening. You set yourself these really unachievable, unattainable goals. And then I think it's within like 14 days. Most of us have not managed them because it was too much of a change and too much pressure. And then we can feel really disheartened. So we want to do the opposite of that and say, okay, what small manageable things can we do to start feeling really good at the beginning of the year and just set ourselves up for a really wonderful year ahead. We will be sharing about the Kickstart challenge in the Facebook group, like I already said. So if you want to come there and engage and just chat with other people so that you're not doing it alone, definitely I would encourage that as well. And no matter where you're at with your jewelry business, whether you are totally new and you're just starting out, or you have been doing this for a long time and you've done lots of planning tools before, this exercise can work for you whatever stage you're at. I do it every year and I find it helpful every year. And I run lots of different types of businesses at lots of different stages. So I'm excited to see how it works for you too. So a couple of other things coming up. We have a webinar coming up on how to grow your jewelry business in 2025. I will put the link in the show notes so that you can check that out. It's after the Kickstart challenge is finished, so you can focus on this first, and then it will be the week after, I believe. I think if I've got my dates right, it's the week after. So it's still in January, but it's a couple of weeks into January. And that's going to be quite an in-depth training. It's a 90-minute session with myself. It isn't just a webinar. It's a really in-depth training program where we're going to be doing some practical exercises together, looking at those of you that really want to grow. So I'm less focused on starting a business there and more focused on growth and what people can do, perhaps if they've been running their business for a couple of years and are really looking to take the next step this year. So that is going to be, it's one of my favorite topics, growth. So I'm excited to be sharing about that with you guys. Then for those of you looking to do some making in January, because January is a great time to do some jewelry making, it uplifts the spirits. It brings those creative juices back. We have our 10 days of silver jewelry challenge starting the week after the Kickstart challenge. So we're trying to do it in order so that you can do them all if you want to, but please don't feel any pressure. So this is a challenge that we have done for a couple of years now. We update it a little each year, and it's basically 10 days over 2 weeks. So Monday to Friday over 2 weeks. And each day there is a free silver jewelry making course that we encourage you to have a go at. And some of them are for total beginners. In fact, a lot of them are for total beginners. There are a few that are a little bit more intermediate, but anyone at any stage, anywhere in the world can try these techniques out. And you can, of course, do all 10 days, which is awesome, and create all the pieces. But you can also dip in and out and say, okay, well, I can't do 5 pieces this week, but maybe I could do 1 or 2. And perhaps if you've done it before and you missed some bits, it's a great time to go back and do the bits that you missed. Or what I love seeing, and a few people have done this, is that they've made the same pieces each year, but they've updated it with the skills they have. So, for example, a stacking ring, the first year they might just making the ring is amazing because they've never made a ring before. And then the next year they might add a little stone setting onto it. Or the next year they might add some texture and some stamping. And the next year they might have added a bit of gold onto it, or even made it in gold, because that's the kind of jewelry they make now. So I think whatever stage you're at, again, you can get really creative with that. And we love seeing what pieces you make. And again, I know I'm like a broken record with the Facebook group, but do come and share what you're making throughout the course, throughout the program in the Facebook group, because it really encourages other people, and it's lovely to see the progress that you guys are making in there as well. A busy January. We've got Kickstart. That's the first thing. That's like our just waking ourselves up in the new year, keeping it cheery, keeping it bright, having a great focus, setting our intention for the year. Then we've got the 10 days of silver jewelry, which is just a lot of fun and a lot of creativity that we're going to be doing together. And then we have our webinar, our growth session on how to grow a jewelry business in 2025, very specific kind of structured training for you guys who are looking to grow. And we have the Jewellery Business Academy open, and a lot of you guys are already in there, so you can go ahead and get started with the content. It closes on the 17th of January, which isn't long. I think it's like 11 days away from now. So if you're thinking of joining, I would say get signed up as soon as you can, because from the 17th, it's going to be closed. And it's a whole year program. So it's something that we're going to be working throughout the year. So if you have any questions about any of that, because I know it's a lot, feel free to drop me a message. You can always email me, jessica@jewellersacademy.com. And, just thank you again for being here, for being part of the community, for being part of the podcast crew as well. And I'll be back here next week with another episode to develop our jewelry making and our jewelry businesses. Have a wonderful start to your year, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.